Welcome to the Soul Alchemy series. As you can see, I'm on location, and this is a bit of a wild location in the sense of I did not plan to stop and record anything today, so the sound quality may be a little sketchy, but it felt really important to speak into this moment because I'm sharing a little vulnerably here, but I'm coming out of a cycle of overthinking, a stage of overthinking. And as I've been navigating this and getting out in nature and getting physically moving, which is some of my go-to tips that I have learnt, and I've been sitting with my team and spirit and asking, what is this teaching me? Why am I feeling this so intensely? Because I have to say, as we've come to the end of 2025 and stepping in, and I know we're only 4 days into 2026, but I'm just seeing this cycle and this pattern coming through. Can you hear my bird friends joining me? And what came forward was, this is embodied living. And it occurred to me that the way that I deal with overthinking, once I heard those words, was the recognition of allowing to the momentum and the action and the movement. What I've really learned in 2025 in approaching my overthinking spirals, cycles, patterns, is how sometimes when I can feel that I'm teetering on the edge of like, okay, this is not now healthy, or that I'm moving into a space where I'm grinding into some stagnancy or to a rut, I get up and get myself moving. And sometimes that could just simply be cleaning around the home. Today I've chosen to actually get out of the house and walk, because there is something too, isn't there, that is really soothing about being in nature, and actually physically moving my body. So walking is really, really helpful. And I have a walking pad at home that I use when I'm able to work and still walk. But there's something that was really important, I think, about being in nature. And this is interesting because the download about this is embodied living came forward. And also why I wanted to share this is because I feel like this is some of what we're going to all feel and see and witness within ourselves as we move through 2026 particularly, but of course as we learn this embodied living. And I can't yet, the words don't flow very well, but there's something here about the authenticity, the authentic embodied living, or you may say the soul-led living. But the key here is really about being in the body. And what is overthinking really? It is mental, isn't it? It's the mind. It's our ego, our subconscious, our shadow self. And it's keeping us here. And it's keeping us out of the body. And so the movement is allowing us to come back into the heart. And there are plenty of other practices that we can do, isn't there? Like you can draw, you can create, you can cook, you can bake, you can garden, you can dance, you can exercise. There are so many ways that you can move that and bring that, I guess, distraction back to the heart. And coming back into the heart center and back into the body. I can feel as I'm talking about this is actually releasing a lot for all of us. So inviting you just to take a deep breath with me here. Slowing down is really important, and what's coming into my awareness now is the reminder from the Seraphim of why they said January 2 was about slowing down, because this is actually what they're calling sustainable living. Sustainable living, because it's, when we think of momentum, when we think of action, we've typically come at it from a very yang energy, masculine energy, reactive energy. It's go, 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 think, fight, flight, right? It is like, well, we have to move quickly. What they're telling me here in this moment is, and I'm loving, I can see now why I needed to do this, because it's helping me receive more about this for me personally. But why this is coming forward is the understanding that we are now creating sustainable movement, sustainable momentum, sustainable living. And maybe you're like me, where what I have identified is that I was all or I was nothing, you know, as in I was 100 kilometers an hour or I was doing 0. And I couldn't quite find that sweet spot. And I'm getting better with that. Definitely over 2025, I've gotten better with that. But I can see that this is inviting me into understanding the balance here, the sustainable balance of action and rest, action and rest, action and rest, or rest and action, doesn't matter which way you put that. I say that because yesterday I woke up knowing that I just needed to rest. I knew that my body was telling me to slow down and that I was physically fatigued and exhausted and that I just needed to rest. I had come off the back of a couple of big days, expansive days, so I was honoring that contraction that happens after that expansion because I'm learning the sustainability. So I'm making headway, but this is deepening it. But by the end of the day, I could feel my shadow self. We're going to call that the shadow self this year. Or you might say your ego, your subconscious mind, the inner critic, the inner judger, whatever you know, the inner mean girl, whatever you want to call that. But I could feel that shadow self was starting to nitpick me, was judging me for what I had done, was then saying things that were having me feel like I needed to throw in the towel on everything. And it was frustrating me because there is that balance of me that knows that it's not doom and gloom, it's not worst case scenario, it's not spiral into depression or self-abandonment, but I needed to feel that and to witness that and hear that, but then, as I said this morning, get up and get moving and say, no, I'm going to attack the day. I don't know why I'm saying it like that because it didn't necessarily feel that way, but that's what's coming in. It was like I'm going to be proactive. And what makes me feel good? What do I know makes me feel good? Well, the first thing was I need to get out in nature. I need to get out for a walk. I got myself a coffee and I didn't walk for fitness. I walked to just enjoy and look at the people, look at the nature, connect with, saying hello to people on the path. And I was being as present as I could be. In presence, right? So last video, that's what came through, and now it's coming to me again. This is again saying this is what it means to be in presence. In presence is embodied living. It is sustainable living, sustainable embodiment, whatever you like, whatever's resonating with you. As I said, the key frequency has not yet landed, but I think that's why I'm sort of walking the path of that. And what's really interesting is I now understand too why I was guided to really create this Soul Alchemy series, because it is to take you through what I'm walking through. And yes, there'll be times there are transmissions, but I feel that Seraphim frequency with me as soon as I started to record, highlighting how important it is as well to share, I don't know if they're tips, to share resources or tools, or just to share what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, because I have done a lot of inner work and I still struggle with the overthinking cycle. So I feel like it's important to share that, because I think so many of us do, and I think it's something we feel guilty about, maybe we feel judgmental about, maybe we feel frustrated with ourselves about, but this is part of the human journey. So as a spiritual being having a human journey, we're learning to understand how to move and work with the parts of us that are human, and with the elements of us that are innately wired for survival. And so as we transition into our remembrance and our embodiment of our true, authentic, divine soul architecture, we have to witness the parts of us that maybe feel resistance to that, maybe are in fear of that, and maybe it is just that innate survival that is saying, hey, are you sure this is the right way to go? So I'm not sure if this part of us, there are white cockatoos that are just flown into the space, just witnessing that. So I'm not sure if this will be something that completely dissolves, for want of a better word. But what I feel is, for me personally, the shadow self has come through as a key theme for me in 2026. And as the Seraphim have been guiding me today, it's understanding that I'm almost making friends with my shadow self. I'm bringing my shadow self back into my heart, back into the light with compassion, with grace, with love, and that I don't actually need to necessarily do anything, heal anything, fix anything. There is that sort of transmuting energy is done. But this is now saying, it's okay, you get to be there and you're a part of me, but hey, come in here, come into the heart where we know what is truth, where we feel love, where we feel light. And I feel like in some ways that will be a repetitive kind of process. But the invitation today, when the Seraphim said to me, this is embodied living, is understanding that that just becomes a part of who we are. So in essence, it's like, don't make it mean something more than it is, if that makes sense. Because the overthinking, for example, that pattern and cycle is making meaning out of something that doesn't need to be as intense. I can't think of the right words there. I hope you can feel what I'm sharing there. But it doesn't have to be as intense. It doesn't have to mean as much as it does. A day's rest for me doesn't have to mean I've got to throw everything away. Because what am I doing? Who am I? Like, I don't have to go to that worst case scenario. So just honoring that, if this is resonating with you, and honoring the parts of you that you might be feeling in this moment, and welcoming you into the understanding of compassion for yourself, for gentleness, for kindness, for acceptance, as you are now that spiritual being who is learning how to navigate the physical human journey with tools and resources at their hand, but also with some of this, let's call it primitive architecture that we are just learning to navigate with, learning to bring in. Like, I just feel like I want to hug it. I just feel like I want to hug it, which is bringing it back into the whole, right? So continually bringing those parts of us back into remembrance that we are whole, that we are not separate, that we are whole, that we are one, and that we are complete. So my main message here too is really just to let you know, if this is resonating with you, if you're feeling this at any time, it may be not right now, but it might come across the year, that you're not alone. And I feel like that is so powerful too. And it's almost like this permission point to understand that what you're feeling is valid. What you're feeling is valid. And the first step sometimes is to allow yourself to accept the way that you feel, because in that permission, we are also allowing some of the guilt, the judgment, the frustration, the resentment, whatever the emotion, the grief, the emotion is, we can allow that to drop and fall away. And we know, don't we, that we are stepping into a season of embodied self-mastery, power, and sovereignty, because that's what I've been talking about here in the Soul Alchemy community. And already the initiations have begun. And the greatest teacher, the greatest gift we have is the experience life brings us. So those experiences coming through your physical reality, your life, are also showing you what is ready to be seen, to be witnessed, to be acknowledged, to be brought back into the whole, into the one. And so I will say it again, this is happening for you, not to you. And I say it to you because I'm also saying it to myself. In the last 3 or 4 days, I've been repeating that to myself almost once every hour, because it's been really important to help me stay in my presence with what is occurring, and also understanding that I don't have to know exactly what everything means, but it's happening for me. And so if I continually try to be gentle, to be compassionate, and to come back to a loving acceptance of myself, and to do, to use the things in my toolkit, like coming out in nature, like walking, speaking to my dear friends, and sharing and hearing other people's story, connecting with things that I love to do, and creating artworks, and just allowing that to sustain me as I move through whatever is coming forward. The one thing too that I will reiterate with this shadow self piece, the acceptance of shadow self, pure acceptance of shadow self with compassion, with love and grace, is that there won't always be something that needs to happen to be transmuted or alchemized, but it will be coming forward for you to say, oh, hi, I see you there, come on in. Hi, I see you there, come on in. So it's like a reunion of self, you might say. That's what I'm feeling in this moment. They're giving me the word reunion, and I see reunion of self. So the parts of you that may be stimulated, that may be triggered, expanded out of the heart, will be coming back in for a little love, a little attention, a little embrace. And as my shirt says, it's funny, I didn't even think about when I put this shirt on, but I can see it. Yeah, perspective. It is all about the perspective, isn't it? It's all about your perspective. So we are changing our perspective. We are seeing through a new lens. We are seeing without the veils, the amnesia, without the sense of the old beliefs, the old patterns and programs. And so this is also embodied living, is like, oh, who are we taking this into being now? How are we bringing this into life now? How are we moving about life now, knowing we are spiritual beings having this human experience? So how does that want to be applied? And of course, it makes complete sense that if I think about the way I've learned to deal with overthinking, and that is to take action. And what are we doing this year? What are we being asked to take? Action. The Seraphim have been saying to us, like, take and apply who you are, what you've learned, what lights you up. And it isn't about necessarily what's my purpose anymore. It's like, what am I passionate about? And that may change moment to moment, day to day. And just continuing to follow that path and bringing it through the form and embodying that. So it's actually quite simple, but again, the shadow self, the ego self, the subconscious mind wants to make it more complicated. So I hope that you will join me and walk with me, follow me as we move through this year, because I'm really interested just to see, in a ways, being accountable to myself in showing up here with this series. And that may evolve over the year, I don't know, but it's really interesting how I'm feeling in this moment, and how I think we are learning together. We're learning through this, and I would love to hear in the comments if this is resonating with you, what's coming forward for you as we continue to co-create and weave this together. Because this is an opportunity, like I mentioned before, having that conversation with a friend of mine, and for her to be able to say, well, actually, this is resonating because of this, and this for me. And that, as much as we don't need to be validated, it's nice to know that you're not alone, you're not going crazy, and that sometimes we do need to be able to share that with somebody else, to be witnessed by somebody else, and to allow ourselves to be a little vulnerable, and this is vulnerable for me in this moment. As I said, I didn't plan to record anything. You can tell I didn't plan to record anything. But this is what it means to be living authentically, embodied. So I hope this brings something for you. I really, really do. That's what I'm here for. So my friends, I'm going to leave it here, but sending you so much love. Let me know in the comments below what is resonating or what's coming through for you, and let's continue to weave. Let's continue to walk this path and see what 2026 brings us all. So until next time, much love.